How Men Build Unbreakable Mental Strength. Introduction. The War for Your Mind. There is a silent war raging inside you, a battle that has been waged since the day you were born. It is not fought with fists or weapons, but with thoughts, choices, and discipline. The world will tell you that strength is measured by power, wealth, or status. But those things can be taken from you in an instant. True strength is built within. It is the unshakable resilience of a man who refuses to break, no matter what life throws at him. And that kind of strength? It is rare. Most men live their lives unaware of this war. They drift through existence, ruled by impulse, shackled by doubt, and waiting for something outside of them to grant them power. They believe that circumstances determine their fate, that their emotions dictate their actions, that success belongs to the lucky or the gifted. This mindset keeps them weak. It keeps them fragile. And when the storms of life come, they crumble. But you are not like them. You have chosen to wake up, to step into the fight. The first thing you must understand is that every great man in history, every warrior, leader, or visionary, was forged through struggle. Strength is not something you are born with, it is something you build. And you build it through discipline, focus, and an unyielding commitment to self-mastery. The world will test you. It will try to break you. And every time you choose discipline over comfort, action over hesitation, power over weakness, you are winning the war within. This book is your weapon. It is not just a collection of ideas, it is a blueprint for forging an unshakable mindset. A mind that cannot be manipulated by fear. A mind that remains focused and clear, even when chaos erupts. A mind that commands discipline like a sword, cutting through distractions and self-doubt. Imagine your mind as a blade. Left untouched, it dulls. Exposed to rust, it weakens. But when placed in the fire, hammered with precision, and sharpened with intention, it becomes something indestructible. That is what you must do with yourself. That is the process this book will guide you through. You will learn the power of discipline, the necessity of focus, and the truth about resilience. You will break through limiting beliefs, master your emotions, and develop the ability to remain composed under pressure. Every chapter will bring you one step closer to the version of yourself that cannot be stopped, cannot be shaken, cannot be broken. But understand this, reading is not enough. Strength is built through action. You must apply what you learn. You must train your mind daily, just as you would train your body. You must challenge yourself, push your limits, and forge habits that make you stronger with each passing day. The world is filled with men who hesitate, who seek comfort, who remain prisoners of their own excuses. You will not be one of them. You have chosen a different path, the path of power, discipline, and mental dominance. So step into the fire. Sharpen your blade. The war for your mind begins now. Chapter 1. The Silent Battle. Why Most Men Stay Mentally Weak. A man's greatest war is not fought against the world. It is fought within himself. Every day, you are at war with your doubts, your fears, your excuses. You battle against the part of you that seeks comfort over growth, that whispers lies about your limitations, that convinces you to settle for less than your full potential. This battle is silent, but its consequences are loud. It determines whether you live with strength and purpose or fade into a life of mediocrity. Most men are losing this war. They don't even realize they are fighting it. They wake up, go through their routine, follow the same patterns, and accept the same limitations they always have. They tell themselves that things will get better one day, that they'll be stronger, more disciplined, more successful, when the right opportunity comes. But the opportunity never comes, because they never create it. They never take command of their own reality. They let weakness win, day after day, until it becomes who they are. A man who is physically imprisoned knows he is trapped. He can see the walls around him, feel the cold steel of his chains. But a man who is mentally imprisoned? He doesn't even realize he's a prisoner. He believes he is free, even as he walks the same path every day, obeying the invisible forces that dictate his actions: fear, hesitation, distraction, self-doubt. These are the chains that keep men small, weak, and powerless. Most men have been programmed since childhood to accept these chains. They have been taught to conform, to follow rules, to fear failure, to avoid risk. They have been told that discomfort is bad, that struggle is unnecessary, that everything will work itself out if they just stay patient and do what they're supposed to do. But look around. Do the men who follow this path seem free? Do they seem powerful? Or do they seem beaten down, uninspired, drowning in quiet desperation? You have to ask yourself, are you truly in control of your mind, or are you following a script written for you by the world? Because until you break free from this programming, you will always be at war with yourself. And you will always lose. Weakness is not just a lack of physical strength, it is a lack of mental resilience. It is the inability to withstand discomfort, to face fear, to push forward when every part of you wants to stop. Most men never develop this resilience because they never challenge themselves. They take the easy path at every turn. When they feel tired, they sleep in. When they feel afraid, they avoid action. When they feel lazy, they make excuses. When they fail, they give up. And every time they make these choices, they reinforce their own weakness. They train their mind to be fragile, to retreat, to seek comfort over challenge. Over time, this becomes their default setting. They stop trying to change because they don't believe they can. And when a man stops believing in his own strength, he has already lost. But that is not your path. That is not why you are here. You are here because you are ready to win this battle. You are ready to build a mind that cannot be broken. The first step to becoming unshakable is awareness. You must see your weakness for what it is. You must acknowledge the habits, the beliefs, the behaviors that have kept you small. This is not about self-pity. It is about taking full responsibility. Because once you see the truth, you have the power to change it. The second step is action. Awareness means nothing without action. You must start training your mind every single day. You must force yourself into discomfort. You must embrace struggle as the path to strength. You must learn to override the voice in your head that tells you to quit. This is how you win the war within. You have spent years training your mind for weakness. Now, you must untrain it. Starting today, you must challenge yourself in ways you never have before. You must push through fear, through resistance, through the false belief that you are not capable. Because the truth is, you are capable of anything, but only if you take action. Ask yourself, where in your life are you letting weakness win? What battles have you been avoiding? Identify them, face them, and then crush them. The war is yours to fight. The war is yours to win. Start now. Chapter 2. Emotional armor, controlling your mind before it controls you. A warrior does not step into battle without armor. A man does not walk into the storm without shelter. Yet every day, men enter the battlefield of life unarmed, not physically, but mentally. They allow their emotions to dictate their actions, their moods to determine their discipline, and their impulses to shape their future. The weak man is ruled by his emotions, reacting to life instead of commanding it. The strong man, on the other hand, masters his emotions, bending them to his will and using them as fuel. Your emotions are not your enemy, but if left unchecked, they will become your master. No man can truly be powerful if he is a slave to his own mind. Society teaches men to suppress their emotions, to bottle them up, to pretend they do not exist. But suppression is not control, it is avoidance. And what is ignored does not disappear, it festers. The anger you swallow turns into resentment. The sadness you deny transforms into exhaustion. The fears you refuse to face multiply in the dark. You may convince yourself that you are strong by holding everything inside, but in reality, you are letting your emotions rule you from within. Real emotional strength does not come from pretending you do not feel. It comes from feeling everything: pain, doubt, rage, fear, and refusing to let any of it dictate your choices. A weak man reacts, letting his emotions pull him in every direction like a ship caught in a storm. When he is angry, he lashes out. When he is afraid, he retreats. When he is uncertain, he hesitates. A strong man does not allow himself to be moved so easily. He acknowledges his emotions, but he does not obey them. He turns anger into focus, using it to sharpen his edge. He transforms fear into fuel, letting it push him beyond his limits. He quiets uncertainty by acting despite it. Most men walk through life on emotional autopilot, never questioning their reactions, never understanding their triggers. They let their moods determine their days, and before they realize it, their moods have determined their entire lives. The man who allows anger to control him will destroy relationships, burn bridges, and make enemies where none were needed. The man who lets fear dictate his actions will never take risks, never step outside his comfort zone, and never realize his full potential. The man who lets laziness whisper in his ear will waste years chasing comfort while his ambitions rot in the background. And the man who lets sadness consume him will drown in self-pity, incapable of movement, incapable of change. A man who cannot control his emotions cannot control his life. And a man who cannot control his life will never be free. Mastering your emotions is not about eliminating them but learning how to wield them as a weapon. The first step is awareness. Most men react without understanding why. They feel anger rise and immediately act on it, as if they have no choice. They feel fear and allow it to hold them back without ever questioning where it came from. Awareness is power. The next time you feel yourself slipping into an emotion, pause. Ask yourself, what triggered this? Is it justified, or am I reacting based on old habits? The simple act of stepping back creates space between your emotion and your reaction. That space is where control begins. Once you recognize your emotions, you must learn to separate from them. A storm feels overwhelming when you are standing in the middle of it, but from a distance, it is just wind and rain. Emotions are the same. If you act in the moment of anger, you are caught in the storm. But if you step back, if you breathe, if you let time settle your mind, you will see the situation clearly. Weak men make decisions when emotions are high. Strong men wait for clarity. But true mastery comes when you no longer see emotions as something to battle against, but as something to channel. Emotion is raw energy, and energy, when directed correctly, is power. Anger can make a man reckless, or it can make him relentless. Fear can make a man freeze, or it can push him forward with heightened focus. The difference is in how you use it. The greatest warriors in history were not emotionless, they were emotionally disciplined. They felt fear before battle but did not let it stop them. They felt anger at their enemies but did not let it blind them. They felt doubt but chose to act anyway. They learned to take all of it, every dark, raw emotion, and turn it into fuel. Right now, ask yourself, do you control your emotions, or do your emotions control you? Do you act based on your discipline, or do you allow fleeting feelings to dictate your decisions? From this moment forward, you must refuse to be a slave to impulse. Train yourself to pause before reacting. The next time you feel anger, stop. Do not act. Observe it. The next time you feel fear, step forward anyway. The next time you feel doubt, silence it with action. A man who masters his emotions masters his reality. And a man who masters his reality is unstoppable. This is your training. Begin today. Your mind is your strongest weapon. Sharpen it. Chapter 3. Reprogramming your mind, breaking free from mental weakness. Your mind is the architect of your life. Every thought, belief, and assumption you hold forms the foundation of the world you experience. If that foundation is built on doubt, weakness, and self-sabotage, then no amount of ambition, discipline, or effort will create the success you desire. No man rises above the level of his own mind. This is why the weak stay weak, because they think like weak men. And this is why the strong rise, because they program themselves to win. The battlefield of life is first fought and won inside your own head. Most men walk through life with a mind full of inherited beliefs, beliefs they never questioned, never examined, never chose. Society, family, past experiences. These influences shape a man's thinking before he ever learns to shape it himself. A boy grows up hearing that life is hard, that success is rare, that only the lucky get ahead, and he accepts it as truth. He is told to play it safe, to avoid risks, to be realistic, and so he learns to fear stepping outside of the lines. He watches those around him settle for mediocrity, so he assumes that mediocrity is normal. Without realizing it, his mind becomes a prison, locking him into a life he never consciously designed. The man who does not reprogram his mind will live his entire life as a servant to someone else's beliefs. He will never truly be free, because his thoughts are not his own. He will act out of fear without knowing why. He will hold himself back when no one is stopping him. He will sabotage his success and justify it as bad luck. His mind will keep him caged, and he will never see the bars. To become strong, you must break this conditioning. You must tear down the weak programming that has been installed in your mind and replace it with thoughts of power, control, and certainty. Reprogramming your mind is not about wishful thinking or empty affirmations. It is about rewiring the very structure of your beliefs so that they align with success, strength, and dominance over your reality. It is about removing mental weakness at the root and installing a mindset that serves you instead of enslaves you. The first step to breaking free is awareness. Most men never stop to question their own thoughts. They assume that just because a belief exists in their mind, it must be true. But a thought is not truth. It is merely an idea that has been reinforced over time. Question everything. If you believe success is for other people, ask yourself why. If you think discipline is too hard, ask yourself who told you that. If you doubt yourself, find the source of that doubt and destroy it. Every belief you hold must be examined under a ruthless lens. Does this thought serve me, or does it weaken me? If it weakens you, it must be eliminated. Once you begin stripping away the weak programming, you must replace it with power. This is done through repetition, intensity, and action. The mind learns through reinforcement. Whatever you tell it consistently, it will eventually accept as truth. If you tell yourself you are disciplined, over and over, and you back that thought with action, your mind will accept it. If you tell yourself you are a man who takes risks, and you continuously take action outside of your comfort zone, your mind will rewire itself to make boldness your default state. This is the same process that created the weak beliefs in the first place: repetition, reinforcement, acceptance. The only difference is that now, you are in control of the process. You must also change the way you speak to yourself. Weak men talk to themselves with doubt, hesitation, and limitation. They say, "I hope I can, maybe one day, I'm not sure if I'm good enough." Strong men speak with certainty. They say, "I will, I am, this is who I am now." Your words are programming instructions for your mind. Use them wisely. Every time you speak in weakness, you reinforce weakness. Every time you speak in power, you reinforce strength. Change your language, and you will change your reality. But words alone are not enough. True reprogramming happens through action. The fastest way to change your mind is to change what you do. Your brain does not believe what you tell it. It believes what you prove to it through behavior. If you act with discipline, your mind will learn that you are disciplined. If you act with confidence, your mind will learn that you are confident. The body leads the mind. Take the actions of the man you want to become, and your brain will adjust accordingly. Right now, ask yourself, who are you programmed to be? Are you living based on outdated beliefs that no longer serve you? Have you been operating under a mental framework that was given to you, instead of one you consciously chose? If the answer is yes, then today is the day you begin the reprogramming process. Start by eliminating one weak thought. Destroy one limiting belief. Speak to yourself with certainty. Take one action that aligns with the man you are becoming. This is not an overnight transformation. It is a war. And every day, you must fight. You must wake up and choose the mindset of power, not weakness. You must reinforce it with thoughts, words, and actions until it becomes unshakable. The old programming will try to pull you back. It will whisper doubt. It will feed you excuses. It will beg you to return to comfort. You must reject it at every turn. The man who controls his mind controls his destiny. Reprogram yourself for strength, for dominance, for absolute certainty in your ability to shape your reality. The moment you take command of your mind, you take command of your future. The old programming dies today. The new you begins now. Chapter 4. The Discipline Edge. Why Consistency Beats Motivation. Discipline is the great separator. It is the thin line between those who dream and those who achieve, between those who talk about success and those who embody it. Weak men rely on motivation. waiting for a surge of inspiration before they act. Strong men rely on discipline, showing up every day regardless of how they feel. This is the difference between those who control their reality and those who are controlled by it. Motivation is fleeting. It is an emotional high, an adrenaline spike that can vanish as quickly as it appears. You felt it before. The sudden urge to change everything, to work harder, to push forward. But then what happens? A few days go by, and the excitement fades. You don't feel like doing the work anymore, so you don't. This is why most men fail. They depend on motivation, thinking they need to feel ready before they act. They are slaves to their emotions, ruled by the fluctuations of their own minds. And as long as you operate this way, you will never have control over your life. Discipline, on the other hand, is the foundation of all true strength. It is the ability to act in alignment with your goals, regardless of how you feel. A man who has discipline is not controlled by his emotions. He is in command of them. When he is tired, he works. When he is uninspired, he works. When he doesn't feel like it, he works. His actions are not dictated by mood, by convenience, or by fleeting enthusiasm. He moves forward because he has decided to, and nothing can shake that decision. The world respects discipline. It bends to the will of men who are consistent, reliable, and relentless. The greatest warriors, leaders, and creators in history were not those who waited for inspiration. They were those who committed to a path and walked it every day, no matter the circumstances. This is what separates the powerful from the powerless, the ability to act with consistency, not just when it is easy, but especially when it is difficult. Most men fail to build discipline because they misunderstand its nature. They think it is a trait that some are born with and others are not. This is false. Discipline is not a talent, it is a skill. It is something you build, one small action at a time, until it becomes part of who you are. If you struggle with discipline now, it is only because you have not trained it. Just as the body can be strengthened through resistance, the mind can be hardened through consistent action. The key to building discipline is to remove the choice. Weak men negotiate with themselves. They wake up and ask, "Do I feel like working today?" Strong men remove the question entirely. There is no debate. There is no discussion. The decision has already been made. They will do what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not. This is the mental shift that changes everything. The moment you stop asking yourself whether or not you feel like taking action, and instead operate from a place of absolute commitment, discipline becomes effortless. It starts with small, daily commitments. The more often you follow through on your promises to yourself, the more you reinforce discipline as your default state. Wake up at the time you said you would. Show up for your training, even when you're tired. Stick to your word, even when it's inconvenient. These are the bricks that build an unshakable foundation. Each small act of discipline strengthens your identity as a man who follows through, and over time, this identity becomes unbreakable. Weak men look for shortcuts. They try to hack their way into discipline, looking for an easy path that does not exist. But discipline is forged through effort, through struggle, through the relentless repetition of doing what must be done. There is no trick, no secret, no alternative. You build discipline by doing the work. This is why hard physical training is so powerful. When you push your body beyond what it wants to do, you are training your mind to override resistance. When you run that extra mile, lift that extra rep, or push through exhaustion, you are teaching yourself that you are not controlled by weakness. You are conditioning yourself to take action, no matter how you feel. This mental conditioning carries over into every area of your life: business, relationships, personal growth. A man who has built discipline in one area finds it easier to apply it everywhere. Right now, ask yourself, where are you relying on motivation instead of discipline? What areas of your life have suffered because you only take action when you feel like it? If you are honest with yourself, you will see the gaps. And once you see them, you can begin to close them. Start small. Pick one area, just one, where you will remove choice and install discipline. It could be waking up early, training consistently, sticking to a schedule, or eliminating distractions. Whatever it is, commit to it fully. Do it every day, no matter what. No negotiations. No excuses. Discipline is not built in a single moment. It is built in the daily, seemingly small choices that compound over time. A weak man makes these choices based on feelings. A strong man makes them based on principle. Decide today which one you will be. The moment you stop waiting for motivation, the moment you take control and commit to relentless discipline, is the moment your life begins to change. Discipline is freedom. It is the key to power, success, and self-respect. Those who master it control their destiny. Those who fail to build it remain at the mercy of circumstances. Choose discipline. Choose strength. Choose to command your reality. Chapter 5. The War Against Comfort, Destroying Weak Habits. Comfort is the silent killer of ambition. It lulls men into a false sense of security, convincing them that they are fine where they are, that they deserve to take it easy, that there's always time to get serious later. But comfort is deceptive. It does not keep you safe. It weakens you. It is a slow rot, an erosion of the fire that once burned inside you. The man who seeks comfort over growth is not at peace. He is simply asleep, blind to the fact that the world is moving forward while he remains stagnant. Every man faces this war against comfort. It is not a battle fought with weapons, but with decisions, the small, seemingly insignificant choices made each day. Do you take the easy road or the hard one? Do you push forward or do you stay where it's safe? Weak men surrender to comfort without realizing it. They convince themselves that they deserve rest, that discipline is too exhausting, that their dreams can wait. But in this surrender, they lose everything. Strength, purpose, and progress all die in the hands of comfort. The strongest men, the ones who dominate in life, are not those who have avoided hardship, but those who have sought it out. They understand a fundamental truth. The body, the mind, and the spirit are sharpened through struggle. They reject the lie that life should be easy, that success should come without pain. Instead, they embrace discomfort, knowing that within it lies growth, power, and transformation. They understand that the fire that tempers steel is the same fire that forges them into something unbreakable. Most men fail to advance in life because they never push past the first layer of resistance. The moment things become difficult, they retreat. They step into the gym for the first time, feel the burn, and quit. They start a new venture, face rejection, and give up. They set ambitious goals, only to let themselves off the hook when progress slows. This is the pattern of men who never rise above mediocrity. The world does not reward those who stop at discomfort. It rewards those who press forward, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. Breaking free from the grip of comfort requires reprogramming your mind. It means shifting your perspective so that discomfort is no longer something to be avoided, but something to be sought. The gym is not a punishment. It is a battleground where weakness is destroyed. Early mornings are not a burden. They are an opportunity to separate yourself from those who are still asleep. Cold showers, hard conversations, disciplined routines. These are not suffering. They are sharpening tools, chiseling away the softness that holds you back. A man who makes discomfort his ally becomes unstoppable. He is the one who runs further when his legs burn, who works longer when others quit, who takes risks when others hesitate. His mind is trained for war. He does not expect an easy path, nor does he desire one. He does not look for shortcuts, because he knows that mastery is only achieved through relentless effort. While others chase convenience, he chases challenges. While others avoid pain, he leans into it. This is the mindset that creates champions, leaders, and warriors. Comfort will always be seductive. The world is designed to keep men weak, offering endless distractions, easy pleasures, and justifications for laziness. Every app, every algorithm, every convenience is designed to make you passive, to drain your ambition until you are content with mediocrity. This is why so many men fail, not because they lack potential, but because they have been convinced that avoiding struggle is the goal. This is the great lie. You must actively fight against the pull of comfort every day. Wake up earlier than you want to. Train harder than you think you can. Reject the distractions that steal your time and weaken your focus. Push yourself into situations that make you uncomfortable. Public speaking, difficult conversations, learning new skills. Seek out resistance. Choose the harder path. Not because it is easy, but because it makes you stronger. Right now, ask yourself, where have you chosen comfort over progress? Where have you settled for good enough when you knew you could push harder? Be brutally honest. If you are not where you want to be in life, it is because, at some point, you chose ease over effort. And if that continues, nothing will change. But here is the truth. You can choose differently, starting now. You can reject the lie of comfort and embrace the path of resilience. You can start training your mind to crave challenge rather than avoid it. Discomfort is not your enemy, it is your greatest ally. It is the key that unlocks the man you are meant to become. Weak men flee from struggle, and in doing so, they remain weak. Strong men seek it out, and in doing so, they become invincible. The choice is yours. Do you remain in the illusion of comfort, watching life pass you by? Or do you take control, step into discomfort, and forge yourself into something greater? Decide now. Choose the fire. Choose the challenge. Choose to destroy every weak habit that has held you back. Because the moment you do, you will separate yourself from the masses and step into the ranks of those who command their destiny. Chapter 6. The Power of Ruthless Focus. Most men are drowning in distractions. They do not control their attention. It is stolen from them, day after day, by a world designed to keep them passive, weak, and unfocused. They wake up and immediately reach for their phone, feeding their mind with noise before they have even had a chance to think for themselves. They sit down to work, yet their focus is constantly shattered by notifications, emails, and meaningless entertainment. They attempt to set goals, yet their attention is divided across too many pursuits, leaving them mediocre at everything and excellent at nothing. Focus is the rarest and most valuable skill a man can cultivate. It is the dividing line between those who build powerful, disciplined lives and those who remain scattered and unfulfilled. The man who can control his focus can control his future. Without it, no amount of intelligence, ambition, or talent will matter. The greatest warriors, thinkers, and leaders throughout history were not those who simply wanted success, but those who could direct their minds toward a single aim with ruthless intensity. The world has trained you to have a weak, unfocused mind. Every app, every platform, every form of entertainment is engineered to hijack your attention, to drain your energy, to keep you endlessly consuming rather than creating. Your brain, exposed to constant stimulation, has lost its ability to lock onto one thing and see it through. This is why so many men struggle to stay consistent with their goals, why they jump from one ambition to the next without ever building true mastery. A weak mind flits between 100 different things. A strong mind locks onto one and dominates it. Mastering focus is not about working harder, it is about working with precision. It means eliminating everything that is not essential, cutting away distractions like dead weight, and directing your entire mental energy toward the goals that actually matter. It means training your brain to resist the dopamine-fueled temptations that scatter your focus. It means simplifying your life so that every action you take moves you forward rather than sideways. It means developing the discipline to sit with deep work, uninterrupted, while the rest of the world wastes their potential scrolling through distractions. A man with ruthless focus does not waste time on trivial matters. He is selective about what he allows into his mind. He does not consume junk content, he does not engage in pointless debates, and he does not let others dictate where his attention should go. He understands that time is his most valuable asset, and he guards it with an iron will. He builds his day around long stretches of deep, uninterrupted work. He commits to mastering one skill at a time rather than dabbling in many. He does not chase the fleeting high of novelty, he embraces the grind of mastery. Most men fail at this because they refuse to take control of their environment. They claim they cannot focus, yet their phone is always within arm's reach, their workspace is cluttered, and their schedule is chaotic. They allow distractions to exist in their lives and then wonder why they cannot make progress. The truth is, focus is not something you wait for, it is something you create. If you want to develop an unbreakable ability to concentrate, you must become ruthless about cutting out everything that does not serve your goals. Start by eliminating the sources of distraction in your daily life. Turn off notifications. Put your phone in another room while you work. Delete the apps that consume your attention without adding value. Designate specific times for deep, uninterrupted work, and treat them as sacred. Set clear priorities, no more than 3 major goals at a time, and eliminate anything that pulls you away from them. Stop multitasking. Train yourself to work in blocks of pure concentration, free from interruptions. If your environment does not support focus, change it. Once you begin training your mind to stay locked in, something shifts inside you. You start to feel a new level of power, as if you have taken back control of a part of yourself that had been stolen. You no longer feel scattered or overwhelmed. You move through your day with clarity and purpose. While others waste hours switching between meaningless distractions, you operate with precision, executing each task with relentless efficiency. This is what separates the men who dominate in their field from those who remain average. Right now, take a hard look at how you spend your time. Are you in control of your attention, or is it being stolen from you? Be brutally honest. If you feel like you are constantly busy yet never making progress, it is because your focus is weak. You must reclaim it. Cut away the distractions. Remove the unnecessary. Train your mind to lock onto a goal and execute with precision. Make focus your superpower, and you will separate yourself from 99% of men who allow their minds to be scattered by the world around them. Weak men let distractions dictate their lives. Strong men take control of their focus and direct it toward their purpose. Choose which kind of man you will be. Will you continue to allow your mind to be hijacked by meaningless distractions? Or will you reclaim your focus, strengthen your attention, and channel your energy toward building something great? The choice is yours. Decide now. Become ruthless about your focus, and you will become unstoppable. Chapter 7. The Strength in Saying No. A weak man is enslaved by his inability to refuse. He says yes to obligations he does not care for, yes to distractions that steal his time, yes to people who drain his energy. He stretches himself thin, bending to the will of others, fearing conflict, fearing disapproval, fearing the discomfort of rejection. But in his endless attempt to please, he destroys himself. His goals suffer. His ambitions are diluted. His life is no longer his own. A strong man, however, understands the power of saying no. He is not concerned with appeasing the weak or entertaining the trivial. He recognizes that every yes is a trade, a sacrifice of time and energy that could have been spent building his empire. He guards his commitments with an iron will, accepting only what aligns with his purpose, discarding all else without hesitation. The world conditions men to be agreeable, to be compliant, to say yes out of politeness, guilt, or obligation. Society rewards docility and punishes defiance. Yet history is written by men who refuse to be controlled. The warriors, the leaders, the innovators. These were the men who said no to mediocrity, no to distractions, no to the expectations that did not serve them. The truth is, most men struggle with saying no because they fear consequences that do not exist. They imagine rejection, conflict, or missed opportunities. They fear being seen as selfish, as arrogant, as unkind. But this is an illusion. The man who stands firm in his boundaries is not hated, he is respected. Others admire his decisiveness, his clarity, his ability to command his own life. A man who respects his time forces others to respect it, too. Saying no is not about rudeness or cruelty. It is about ownership. Every moment you waste on something meaningless is a moment stolen from something that matters. Every unnecessary yes weakens your ability to commit fully to what is truly important. If you lack the strength to reject what does not serve you, you will forever be at the mercy of those who dictate your time. If you struggle to say no, it is because you have not yet built the inner strength to stand alone. You still seek approval, still crave acceptance, still wish to avoid discomfort. But the moment you begin rejecting what weakens you, something shifts inside you. You realize that every rejection of the unimportant is an affirmation of your purpose. You feel lighter, sharper, stronger. Your focus intensifies. Your energy expands. Your respect for yourself deepens. To master this skill, you must practice. Begin by identifying where your time is being drained by commitments that do not serve you. Where do you say yes out of obligation rather than desire? Who do you entertain not out of genuine connection, but out of fear of rejection? What distractions do you allow into your life simply because you have not yet built the discipline to cut them out? From this moment forward, start eliminating. Decline invitations that do not align with your vision. Cut off conversations that drain rather than inspire. Remove commitments that were forced upon you rather than chosen by you. You do not owe your time to anyone who does not respect it. Every no you say is a yes to something greater, your growth, your mission, your freedom. There will be discomfort at first. People will question you. Some will resent you. Many will not understand your discipline. That is irrelevant. Weak men worry about opinions. Strong men commit to their path, indifferent to whether others approve. Imagine yourself 6 months from now, having cut out everything unnecessary. Your mind is clearer. Your time is yours. Your progress is undeniable. Every yes you give is intentional, deliberate, aligned with your highest purpose. This is the power of a man who knows how to say no. If you continue to say yes to everything, your life will remain scattered, your goals diluted, your energy drained. But if you master the ability to reject what does not serve you, you will become unstoppable. So ask yourself, are you in control of your time, or is it being controlled for you? Will you continue to live on the terms of others, or will you take full ownership of your existence? The choice is yours. Decide now. And say no to everything that does not make you stronger. Chapter 8. Destroying Self-Doubt, Becoming Your Own Leader. A man at war with himself will never win. He may march forward, but his steps are uncertain. He may speak, but his words lack conviction. His doubt festers in the shadows of his mind, whispering that he is not enough, that he is destined to fail, that he is an imposter in his own life. It is this voice, not external forces, that weakens him. A man's greatest enemy is not the world, not his circumstances, not even his past. It is the doubt that he has allowed to take root in his own mind. No man is born confident. No warrior enters battle with certainty until he has tested his steel against the world. Confidence is not a trait. It is a skill, forged through action. The weak wait for validation, hoping that one day they will feel ready. The strong understand that readiness is a choice, a decision to trust oneself despite the uncertainty. The man who leads himself does not require the permission of others. He commands his mind, his time, his actions. He does not seek approval. He moves forward because that is what he has decided to do. Self-doubt is not a curse, it is a test. It is the fire that separates those who take control of their destiny from those who submit to hesitation. Weak men crumble under its weight, convincing themselves they must be broken if they feel uncertain. Strong men recognize it for what it is, an obstacle to conquer, a challenge to rise above. Every great man has faced the same doubt, the same fear, the same whisper in the back of his mind telling him he is not enough. The difference is, the great ones refuse to listen. The only way to destroy self-doubt is through action. You do not think your way into confidence. You act your way into it. When a man takes action despite his uncertainty, he proves to himself that his fear is irrelevant. He learns that the voice of doubt is nothing more than noise, an echo of past insecurities that no longer define him. Each decision made without hesitation sharpens his edge. Each step forward weakens the grip of self-doubt. If you have spent your life hesitating, waiting for confidence to arrive, waiting for the perfect moment. Understand this. It will never come. There is no perfect time. There is only now. And if you refuse to act now, you will remain exactly where you are. The man you want to become does not wait. He does not doubt. He moves forward despite the fear. He leads himself. To begin this transformation, you must first identify where self-doubt controls you. Where do you hesitate? What actions do you avoid because you fear failure? What areas of your life have you neglected because you have convinced yourself you are not capable? Do not look away from these answers. Face them. They reveal the battlefield where you must fight. Once identified, attack. Take action in the very areas where doubt tells you to wait. If you doubt your ability to speak with authority, force yourself to lead conversations. If you doubt your strength, push your body beyond its limits. If you doubt your ability to make decisions, start making them, imperfectly, but decisively. With every action taken, doubt loses its hold. There will be moments where the old voice returns, whispering that you are not enough. Let it speak. Then move forward anyway. Over time, as you continue to act, the voice will grow weaker. One day, it will be silent, replaced by something new: conviction, certainty, the unshakable belief that you are in control of your own fate. This is the way of the man who leads himself. He does not wait for validation. He does not seek permission. He moves forward, carves his own path, and in doing so, commands the respect of the world. But more importantly, he commands the respect of himself. If you fail to destroy self-doubt, your life will always be dictated by hesitation. You will always second-guess your choices, always wonder what could have been, always live in the shadow of the man you were meant to become. But if you choose now, this moment, to reject hesitation, to act despite the fear, to lead yourself forward, you will never again be controlled by doubt. Your future is waiting. Your strength is waiting. But they will not come to you. You must take them. Move now. Decide now. And never hesitate again. Chapter 9. The Warrior's Patience, Playing the Long Game. A weak man demands results now. He seeks shortcuts, quick wins, and the illusion of success without the sacrifice. He lacks the patience to build, the discipline to endure, and the foresight to see beyond the immediate moment. And because of this, he fails. He starts but never finishes. He moves but never arrives. He quits when the path grows steep, convinced that progress should be easier, that success should be faster. But the man who understands the long game, the warrior who commits to patience as a weapon, becomes unstoppable. True power lies in patience, not in haste. A seed does not demand to be a tree overnight. A storm does not carve mountains in a day. The strongest forces in nature, those that shape the world itself, move slowly but with absolute certainty. The same principle applies to a man's strength, his discipline, his mastery of self. The men who dominate their fields, who rise above mediocrity, who command their own reality. These are the men who understand that great things take time, that every small effort compounds into something unbreakable. Patience is not passivity. It is not waiting and hoping. It is action sustained over time, discipline repeated until it becomes an unshakable force. It is the ability to endure discomfort, setbacks, and delays without losing focus. The weak man is distracted by the urgency of now, chasing temporary pleasures, avoiding pain, seeking the path of least resistance. The strong man plays a different game. He does not think in days, weeks, or months. He thinks in years. Every great warrior, every master, every legend was forged through patience. The fighter who trains in silence for years before stepping into the ring. The entrepreneur who builds brick by brick before the world even notices. The man who invests in himself daily, mentally, physically, spiritually, knowing that his reward is not immediate but inevitable. This is the warrior's way. Look at your own life. Where have you fallen into the trap of impatience? Have you quit too soon because results didn't come fast enough? Have you shifted from one goal to another, never staying long enough to build something lasting? Have you allowed frustration to sabotage your progress? These are the marks of the undisciplined, the unfocused, the weak. Recognize them and choose a different path. If you desire strength, commit to the long game. Train your body not for today but for a lifetime. Build your wealth with discipline, knowing that compound growth rewards the patient. Master your mind not with quick fixes but with daily refinement. Become a man who plants seeds and nurtures them, who lays bricks every day, who does not demand immediate validation but trusts the process. Patience is the ultimate advantage in a world obsessed with speed. While others burn out chasing shortcuts, you remain steady. While others crumble under the weight of failure, you adapt and keep moving. You become unbreakable not because you never struggle, but because you never quit. The game is long. The rewards belong to those who endure. Now, ask yourself, where have you been impatient? Where have you abandoned something because it took longer than expected? Where have you sabotaged your own growth by demanding speed instead of mastery? Answer honestly, then make a choice. Will you continue chasing quick wins and staying weak, or will you commit to the path that leads to undeniable, lasting strength? A man who learns to play the long game cannot be stopped. He does not fear time. He does not crave instant results. He moves forward, step by step, with the patience of a warrior who knows his victory is not a matter of if, but when. Decide now. Stay the course. And one day, when others wonder how you became unshakable, you will know it was because you were patient enough to build what they never could. Chapter 10. The Mental Reset. How to Recover Fast from Setbacks. Every man faces setbacks. The difference between the weak and the strong is not the presence or absence of failure. It's how they respond to it. A weak man stumbles and stays down, convincing himself that failure is proof he was never meant to succeed. He lets one mistake become an identity, one loss become a permanent defeat. He drowns in self-pity, shame, or anger, paralyzed by his own mind. The strong man, the one who commands his reality, has a different response. He resets. He recovers. He adapts. He understands that setbacks are not final, that every fall is an opportunity to rise stronger, sharper, and more resilient than before. Think of the warrior in battle. He does not have the luxury of mourning every wound, of hesitating when knocked to the ground. The moment he falls, he recalibrates. He assesses, adjusts, and moves forward without losing sight of his mission. His ability to recover quickly is what makes him lethal. The same principle applies to your mind. The faster you reset after a setback, the stronger you become. The longer you dwell in failure, the weaker you remain. Failure is never the real enemy. Attachment to failure is. Many men hold on to their losses, replaying them in their minds, feeding the emotions that weaken them. They let regret, guilt, and fear consume their focus, as if reliving the past will somehow change it. But here's the truth. Every second spent dwelling on failure is a second stolen from your future. If you allow mistakes to define you, you surrender control. But if you learn to reset quickly, you transform failure into fuel. Resetting is a skill. It is the ability to step back from emotion, to strip failure of its power, and to refocus on execution. It is the refusal to be trapped in the past. When you experience a setback, the first step is acceptance. See it for what it is, no more, no less. A lost opportunity, a bad decision, a moment of weakness. Nothing more than data. Do not attach unnecessary meaning to it. Do not create stories about who you are because of it. Accept, analyze, and move. Next, reframe. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What can I take from this?" Instead of feeling frustration, train yourself to feel curiosity. Every setback carries a lesson. Your job is to extract it. Some failures expose weaknesses in your discipline, your mindset, or your strategy. Others reveal external forces you failed to prepare for. In either case, resetting means refining. You become sharper by studying your setbacks without emotion, using them as blueprints for future success. Then, take immediate action. Weak men hesitate after failure, unsure of themselves, waiting for the perfect time to move again. Strong men step forward immediately. They correct course, take new action, and rebuild momentum. When you fail, do not pause for endless reflection. Redirect your energy into the next move. If you lost discipline, re-establish it today. If you made a mistake, correct it now. If you suffered a loss, begin building again without hesitation. The power of resetting quickly is what separates those who rise from those who remain buried. Life will test you. It will knock you down repeatedly. The question is not whether you will fail, but whether you will get back up without delay. How many times have you let failure drain your energy? How many times have you allowed a single mistake to derail your progress for days, weeks, even years? That stops now. From this point forward, you train your mind to reset fast. No excuses, no lingering self-pity. Just assessment, correction, and movement. Resetting is what makes a man unstoppable. When you become the type of man who recovers faster than others, you gain a ruthless advantage. You stop wasting time in hesitation, and you keep advancing while others remain frozen. Your setbacks become fuel, and your losses become lessons. You shift from a reactive mindset to an unshakable one, where nothing, no failure, no rejection, no obstacle, has the power to break you. Now, look at your own life. Where have you let failure slow you down? Where have you held on to regret instead of learning from it? Where have you hesitated when you should have taken immediate action? Recognize it, decide to change, and train yourself to reset instantly. From today forward, no failure will define you, no setback will hold you, and no obstacle will stop you. You will fall, but you will rise even faster. That is the mindset of the unshakable. That is the mark of a man who commands his reality. Chapter 11. The 1% Rule. Small wins create unbreakable confidence. Greatness is not built overnight. Strength is not forged in a single battle. The men who dominate in life understand a fundamental truth. Small wins, compounded daily, create unstoppable momentum. Yet most men fail because they expect transformation to be immediate. They want massive results without mastering the discipline of daily execution. They chase intensity instead of consistency, making dramatic efforts one day and quitting the next. The men who win, the ones who build unshakable confidence, do not think this way. They understand the power of the 1% rule, getting just a little better every single day. Imagine a man sharpening a blade. He does not take one aggressive strike against the metal and expect perfection. He makes hundreds of small, precise adjustments, refining the edge bit by bit. Progress works the same way. Small, deliberate improvements, stacked over time, create results so powerful that they seem almost effortless to outsiders. But there is no magic, only consistent, intelligent action. Confidence is built the same way. It is not something you are born with, nor is it granted to you. Confidence is earned through proof. Proof that you keep your word, proof that you follow through, proof that you are in control of yourself. The easiest way to destroy confidence is to make promises to yourself and break them. Every time you set a goal and fail to act, you weaken your belief in yourself. But every time you execute, no matter how small the action, you reinforce your power. This is why small wins matter. You may not be able to change your life in a single day, but you can win today. You can wake up and control your morning. You can train your body, focus your mind, and eliminate distractions. You can read a single page of a book that sharpens your mind. You can make one disciplined decision that separates you from the weak. These actions may seem insignificant in the moment, but compounded over weeks, months, and years, they separate the powerful from the average. The mistake most men make is dismissing small victories as unimportant. They think if they can't make a massive change immediately, it's not worth the effort. This is why they remain weak. The strongest men in history mastered the art of daily discipline, stacking small habits until they became unstoppable forces. It is the same in war, business, fitness, and personal mastery. A soldier does not become a master tactician in a single day. A champion does not build his endurance with one workout. Every act of discipline reinforces the next, creating an identity that cannot be shaken. This is how you must approach your life. Every morning, you set your standard. You execute, no matter how small the action, and you repeat it the next day. The goal is not perfection, it is consistency. The mind thrives on momentum. Once you start stacking wins, your confidence becomes unbreakable. Your subconscious begins to register you as a man who follows through, a man who is in control, a man who is moving forward. And when you believe this about yourself, you act accordingly. Right now, ask yourself, where have you been neglecting small wins? Where have you let inconsistency rob you of momentum? What are the small habits you know you should be executing daily but have been ignoring? Pick one. Start today. Win today. Then win tomorrow. Make the 1% improvement that compounds into unstoppable force. That is how confidence is built. That is how strong men separate themselves from the weak. And that is how you become the man who dominates his reality. Chapter 12. The Power of Brotherhood. Why Lone Wolves Lose. A man alone is vulnerable. The myth of the lone wolf is glorified in stories, but in reality, it is a slow death sentence. The strongest men in history, the leaders, the warriors, the kings, they all understood one thing. Power is built through alliances. No man climbs to greatness in isolation. He sharpens himself against other strong men, pushing past his limits not because he is naturally superior, but because he refuses to stand among the weak. Society has conditioned men to believe that asking for support is weakness, that relying on others somehow diminishes their masculinity. This is a lie. Weak men isolate themselves out of fear, fear of being judged, fear of not measuring up, fear of exposing their flaws. Strong men understand that a brotherhood does not weaken them, it fortifies them. The difference between a man who reaches his potential and a man who stagnates is often the men he surrounds himself with. If you stand among sheep, you will begin to act like one. If you run with wolves, you will become a predator. Look at history. The Spartans, feared across the ancient world, were not great because of individual strength alone but because they trained, fought, and bled as a unit. They were disciplined in mind and body, knowing that a weak link endangered them all. There was no tolerance for mediocrity in their ranks. The same applies to you. If you tolerate weakness in your circle, if you surround yourself with men who make excuses, who accept failure, who live without purpose, you will become one of them. You cannot outgrow the environment that keeps you small. This is why you must be ruthless in choosing the men you allow into your life. Ask yourself, do the men around you push you forward, or do they hold you back? Do they challenge you to rise, or do they pull you down into complacency? Are they ambitious, disciplined, and relentless, or are they content with mediocrity? If your circle does not elevate you, it is suffocating you. Brotherhood is about more than just association, it is about accountability. It is about surrounding yourself with men who do not let you slip, who call you out when you make excuses, who remind you of your potential when you forget. Weak men seek comfort in each other's failure, using collective mediocrity as a crutch. Strong men seek growth, using each other as stepping stones to something greater. If you do not yet have a strong brotherhood, build one. Seek out those who are already where you want to be. Find men who refuse to accept weakness in themselves and will not accept it in you. If you are the strongest, smartest, or most disciplined man in your circle is too weak. You should always feel challenged, always be around men who push you to the next level. Isolation breeds stagnation. Brotherhood breeds strength. The men who rise are the men who understand this. If you want to dominate in life, you must choose your circle wisely. Build a tribe of warriors, men who hold the same relentless standard as you, and you will become unstoppable. Chapter 13. The Death of Weakness, Eliminating Excuses Forever. A man's downfall is not decided by outside forces, it begins within. The moment he allows excuses to take root, weakness spreads like a virus. It infiltrates his thoughts, his habits, his discipline, and before he realizes it, he has become a prisoner of his own mind. The most dangerous thing a man can do is justify his failures, rationalize his stagnation, and convince himself that he is a victim of circumstance. Excuses are the language of mediocrity, and those who speak them will never command their lives. The modern world has made weakness acceptable. It has provided endless justifications for failure, soothing the egos of men who refuse to take control. Society tells you that your struggles are not your fault, that success is determined by luck, that discipline is an unfair burden. And so, men lower their standards. They convince themselves that they are powerless, that life is happening to them rather than being shaped by their own hands. But the truth remains unchanged. You are responsible for everything in your life. Your failures, your stagnation, your lack of discipline, they are yours to own. The difference between strong men and weak men is not talent, intelligence, or background. It is responsibility. A weak man looks at his circumstances and sees obstacles. A strong man looks at those same circumstances and sees challenges to be overcome. A weak man blames his childhood, his lack of opportunities, his genetics, the economy. A strong man finds solutions, adapts, and refuses to let external factors dictate his success. The truth is brutal but liberating. No one is coming to save you. The moment you realize this is the moment you gain power. Excuses manifest in subtle ways. The man who says, "I don't have time," is really saying, "I do not prioritize my goals." The man who says, "I don't know where to start," is really saying, "I am afraid to fail." The man who says, "I wasn't given the same opportunities as others," is really saying, "I lack the courage to create my own." Every excuse is a disguise for fear, laziness, or lack of self-belief. And every time you indulge in an excuse, you weaken yourself further. Destroying weakness requires an uncompromising mindset. You must become allergic to excuses. The moment one enters your mind, attack it with action. If you say you don't have time, restructure your day and prove yourself wrong. If you say you don't know where to start, begin immediately, even if imperfectly. If you say you're not lucky, make your own opportunities. The men who rise are the men who refuse to entertain weakness in any form. Look at the most dominant men in any field: business, sports, leadership, war. They all share one trait: they do not accept excuses. They do not wait for the perfect moment. They do not waste time on self-pity. They operate with an unbreakable standard, demanding the best from themselves at all times. This is not because they were born different. It is because they chose a path of relentless accountability. Weakness dies when you starve it. If you have been making excuses, if you have been avoiding responsibility, today is the day it ends. No more blaming circumstances, no more waiting for motivation, no more rationalizing failure. Decide that from this moment forward, you will own your life completely. No man who has ever achieved greatness has done so by making excuses. And neither will you. Chapter 14. Building the mindset of a king. A man's reality is not shaped by his environment, his resources, or his past. It is forged in his mind. Every action, every success, and every failure stems from the way he thinks. A weak mindset leads to hesitation, insecurity, and stagnation. A strong mindset produces action, confidence, and results. But beyond strength, there is something even greater: the mindset of a king. A king does not react to life. He commands it. He does not wait for permission. He takes what is his. He does not submit to doubt. He bends reality to his will. Most men are ruled by their circumstances. They allow their emotions, their failures, and the opinions of others to dictate their path. They move through life seeking approval, craving comfort, and fearing confrontation. A king does none of this. He moves with certainty, knowing that his vision is what shapes his kingdom. He makes decisions with absolute authority, unshaken by fear. He does not entertain self-doubt, nor does he allow weakness to creep into his thoughts. He knows that his mind is the foundation of everything he builds, and so he guards it like a fortress. To build the mindset of a king, you must first eliminate the habits of a slave. Weak men spend their time complaining, consuming distractions, and chasing validation. They wait for opportunities instead of creating them. They look to others for permission instead of asserting their own path. They allow their emotions to dictate their actions, making them prisoners of their own impulses. This is the opposite of power. A king does not react to the world, he shapes it. His time is spent on action, not excuses. His energy is focused on building, not consuming. His decisions are made with authority, not hesitation. The foundation of the king's mindset is absolute self-belief. This is not arrogance, it is necessity. If you do not believe in yourself, you are waiting for someone else to believe in you. If you do not command your own destiny, you will be ruled by the ambitions of another. Look at history. Every great leader, every dominant force, every man who built an empire had one thing in common: unwavering certainty in himself. He was not deterred by rejection, failure, or resistance. He knew that the world bends to the will of those strong enough to command it. But certainty is not enough. A king does not just believe, he acts. He does not sit in self-praise, thinking himself powerful while doing nothing. He proves his power daily through action. He builds his body, sharpens his mind, strengthens his will. He makes bold moves, takes calculated risks, and does not retreat at the first sign of resistance. Every day, he reinforces his belief through disciplined effort. He does not wait to feel ready. He moves, knowing that readiness is a product of action, not hesitation. If you want to embody the mindset of a king, you must ruthlessly cut away anything that weakens you. Remove the distractions that waste your time. Walk away from people who drain your energy. Eliminate the thoughts that keep you playing small. Every day, you are either reinforcing strength or feeding weakness. There is no in-between. The men who rise are those who make the decision, over and over again, to elevate themselves, no matter how difficult the path. Kings are not chosen. They are not given their thrones. They take them. They claim power through discipline, through resilience, through the unshakable belief that they are destined for more. If you want to rule your life, you must first rule your mind. Destroy the hesitation. Kill the excuses. Abandon the need for permission. The world does not belong to those who wait, it belongs to those who command. You were not born to be ruled by fear. You were not meant to live at the mercy of external forces. Step into your power, sharpen your mind, and walk through this world with the certainty of a man who knows he was born to lead. Chapter 15. The Man Who Cannot Be Broken. There is a rare breed of man who stands unshaken no matter what the world throws at him. He does not flinch in the face of hardship, nor does he crumble under pressure. He does not seek comfort, yet he finds peace in discomfort. Pain does not weaken him, it refines him. Failure does not discourage him, it sharpens him. He does not break, because he has forged himself into a man who cannot be broken. Weak men believe that resilience is something you are born with. They assume that toughness is gifted to some while others are doomed to crumble. But mental strength is not an accident. It is built, piece by piece, through struggle, through adversity, through the conscious decision to endure what others would run from. Every challenge, every setback, every moment of suffering is an opportunity to reinforce unshakable resilience. It is through pain that a man discovers what he is truly made of. The difference between the weak and the unbreakable is not what happens to them, it is how they respond. Two men can face the same storm, but one will shatter while the other will stand tall. The weak man curses his circumstances, blames external forces, and allows hardship to justify his failure. The unbreakable man, however, sees adversity as a test. He does not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, he asks, "How can this make me stronger?" He understands that suffering is not an obstacle, it is the fire that forges him. To become a man who cannot be broken, you must first abandon the illusion that life should be easy. Hardships will come, setbacks will arise, and pain is inevitable. But suffering is optional. The way you process challenges determines whether they will weaken or empower you. When things go wrong, weak men panic, but strong men pause. They assess the situation, adapt, and take control. They do not allow emotions to cloud their judgment. They remain composed, even in the face of chaos. Pain is an unavoidable part of the journey, but how you interpret that pain is entirely within your control. Some will see struggle as a reason to quit. Others will see it as the very thing that molds them into something greater. The man who cannot be broken has mastered his mind to the point where pain is no longer an enemy, it is an ally. He does not avoid it. He does not run from it. He embraces it, knowing that each hardship is another hammer strike against the steel of his will. This level of resilience is not built in a single moment but through countless small choices. It is the discipline of waking up when you want to sleep, pushing forward when you want to quit, controlling your emotions when you want to lash out. It is in these moments that a man builds himself. Every time you resist weakness, you strengthen your armor. Every time you endure when others would fall, you set yourself apart. But the unbreakable man is not just tough, he is strategic. He does not endure suffering for the sake of it, he learns from it. He reflects, he adapts, and he evolves. He understands that resilience without wisdom is stubbornness, but resilience guided by intelligence is unstoppable. He does not let his past define him, nor does he dwell on failures. He learns, recalibrates, and moves forward with greater strength. Weakness is a choice. So is strength. Every day, you decide which path you will walk. You can choose to be the man who is easily shaken, or you can choose to be the man who endures, who overcomes, who stands firm in the face of every storm. The world does not favor the weak, it respects the unbreakable. If you want to command your reality, if you want to be the type of man who dictates his own fate, then you must train yourself to be immovable, unshaken, and undefeatable. The man who cannot be broken is not born, he is built. And today, that choice is in your hands. Conclusion: your mind is your weapon. Sharpen it daily. A man's greatest weapon is not his strength, his status, or his wealth. It is his mind. The sharpness of his thoughts, the discipline of his emotions, and the resilience of his will dictate every outcome in his life. Some men go through life unarmed, unaware of the battles they are constantly losing because they have never taken control of their minds. Others forge themselves into living weapons, men who cannot be swayed, manipulated, or defeated. These are the men who dictate their own destinies. These are the men who walk through fire and emerge stronger. If there is one lesson that should remain with you long after reading this book, it is this: you are entirely responsible for the man you become. Weak men search for excuses. Strong men search for solutions. If your life is not where you want it to be, it is because you have not yet mastered your mind. Your thoughts, your habits, your emotional discipline. These are the architects of your reality. Everything you do, every decision you make, and every action you take either sharpens your weapon or dulls it. Every choice either strengthens your position or weakens it. There is no neutral ground. Most men drift through life reacting to their circumstances. They allow their emotions to dictate their actions. They wait for motivation instead of creating momentum. They let setbacks break them instead of using them as fuel. But the man who commands his mind commands his fate. He does not allow external forces to shape his reality. He imposes his will on the world. He understands that self-mastery is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Without it, he is nothing more than a pawn in someone else's game. But let's be clear, this path is not for the weak. Mastering your mind requires relentless discipline. It requires confronting your weaknesses, destroying your excuses, and building new mental frameworks that refuse to crumble under pressure. It is not an easy journey, but it is the only journey worth taking. Because the alternative, living as a man controlled by impulses, fears, and self-doubt, is a fate worse than hardship. It is the slow decay of potential, the death of ambition, the surrender of power. And that is not an option. If you have made it this far, you are not like most men. You are not here for quick fixes or temporary motivation. You are here because something inside you refuses to settle. You are here because you know that you are built for more. You are here because, deep down, you understand that strength is not given, it is earned. And now, you have the tools. You have the blueprint. You have the knowledge to reshape your reality. But knowledge alone is worthless. Action is what separates the strong from the weak. Now is the time to act. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel like it. Now. Implement what you have learned. Break the habits that weaken you. Forge the discipline that will carry you forward. Face your weaknesses head-on and transform them into strengths. Refuse to be another man who merely reads about power but never claims it for himself. You have one life. One opportunity to become the man you were meant to be. And it starts with a single decision. Your mind is your weapon. Sharpen it. Wield it. And take command of your reality.